And welcome back. Now with us we have Zoran Horvat. Good afternoon, Zoran. How are you?
Good afternoon. Very well.
Nice to hear that. So, Zoran, you are a principal consultant. You are a developer. And earlier today we had a chance to hear about identity and how it should be used directly from the source from Redmond. And now, as I understood, we will hear your story from the development side, how you are actually doing it, and let's see if we can combine these two for the best practices.
Yes, exactly. I think you're referring to Christos Matskas's.
Yes, correct.
Yes, I watched it, and I hope that other attendees have watched it too. It was an excellent presentation about how to use and why to use managed identity. In my presentation, we will actually use it, and I will show it from perspective of a developer. Since I am a developer, not DevOps, and I'm mostly developing software, I have my own views how we should approach managed identity and keeping secrets, and therefore I will show that in this presentation. Again, not so much from DevOps perspective, from deployment and things like that. We have heard Eric giving great presentation about deployment, and I hope my presentation will effectively close the circle. So we will hear how developers should approach their code, how they should build their code so that it is manageable through DevOps scripting and to employ the best of managed identity, as Christos has told us.
Yes, I agree. And I believe that it's very important to constantly talk about those things because, as I mentioned, we had a generation of developers that used to work for the on-prem environments and applications, and now moving more to the cloud, they need to develop different kind of knowledge and behavior from the security point of view. So
yes,
if you're ready, you can share your presentation and you can start.
Okay.
Okay, the presentation is live, so it's yours.
Okay, shall I start?
Yes, you may. Yes.
All right, thank you everyone for coming. I hope you're all safe and well. And today in this presentation, I will show you how you can keep your application safe and well too, especially if you're facing the need to keep secrets from leaking out. I will repeat what we have been discussing a few minutes ago. If you have missed it, Christos Matskas has explained why and how you should use managed identity in Azure. And Eric Berg has explained how you should script deployment. So both of those approaches and technologies are meant to keep you on the safe side. And now it comes the time to show you how you can do that in code. How do you develop software which is falls into that category called secretless development. So you will have no secrets on your machine or in your software or in your GitHub repo, nowhere. So let's start. Safety. Safety is a mindset, how to stay safe. That is the way you think. I stay safe by not holding anything sensitive on my machine. Anything. Or as Gandalf would say it, keep it secret and keep it safe. And my machine is not safe, nor is it secret for that matter. I will show you one example of safety mindset. especially an example where that mindset was abandoned and it almost had tragic consequences. I'm sure that you have seen this picture once in your lifetime. This terrifying picture is showing a pilot, Timothy Lancaster, who was sucked out of the cabin in mid-flight. What happened was that the windshield was blown out of the and away from the cabin, and pilot was sucked out. You can see that he doesn't even have a shirt. It was everything was torn off of him. Eventually, Timothy survived with surprisingly minor injuries. But what this incident has shown was a systemic failure in design of the pilot cabin. The windshield was screwed, attached, fastened from the outside. And you know what happens when you have something like a airplane cabin and there is an outside area and the inside. When the plane is flying, due to Bernoulli's principle, you know, from physics, when there is a flow of fluid across a surface, like airflow during the flight, a field of low pressure forms on that side where the fluid is moving, and therefore everything tends to burst out from the airplane due to huge difference in pressures. And then how do designers, engineers design windshields or all other parts of the airplane? They put everything on the inside and make it larger than the hole so that nothing can fly out. And that is safe thinking. Every engineer knows that if you are fastening anything to an airplane, you fasten it on the inside and make it larger. That is safe thinking. Well, these engineers thought that they can overcome those risks by precisely calculating the screw drives and everything. And their calculations were right, all until a couple of screws went off and they were lost in the flight. And when that happened, their calculations, while they were perfectly correct, did not hold anymore, and the windshield blew open. So why am I telling you this? Because many engineers tend to play with fire. They say, yes, connection strings are secret, keys, access keys are secret, but I know how to keep secrets. But sooner or later, that will be breached, and those secrets will be taken from you. So what I want to tell you is that every day of your engineering life, you should stay on the safe side by following principles of the safe design and never play with fire, because sooner or later you will be burned. After this, we shall step to code. You can download source code from this address, from my GitHub account. I have already created a public repository, so you can download the final code for this presentation. And since I don't plan to return to slides after this, let me remind you of our sponsors who made this event possible. So thanks everyone on this slide who have made an effort to make this conference happen. Okay, let's get to code then. This is the application which I will demonstrate. It is a very simple application which shows some products taken from the database. There will be some pictures of those products. I still don't have pictures because I haven't implemented. I still haven't decided where to hold pictures for one thing. And that is what we will develop here. So you will see that there will be a connection to database as one secret. There will be some picture storage with its own access secrets. We'll have to deal with those. And I will deploy this application to Azure. These are resources which I have already prepared, the minimum of those. This is the web application. There is the SQL Server and a database as the minimum setup. We will add Key Vault and we will add storage to these resources later as we continue developing code. So let's start developing. I have started this application on my own computer, not ready to deploy it to Azure yet. So I was using local DB, but now as the time has come to deploy it, I think that this connection string should be placed somewhere in settings, like in app settings JSON. Yeah, I might put it there and use configuration to get the connection string. This is maybe the default thinking, but what you will immediately realize is that this connection string will be pushed to source code repository, which is not a good idea. Even those people who think that their repositories are private and hence safe, they're actually not safe. There has been even a known issue when private repositories were exposed publicly. And even if you thought that your secrets are safe in a private repository, due to a bug, they could be exposed. So you should never put any secrets in app settings JSON. For one thing, because it will go into a source code repository. On the other hand, I will keep these things in app settings JSON because those are not secret, like logging level. That's not a secret, that is just a switch. One way of dealing with these is to introduce another app settings, which I have called app settings.secrets.json. Here it is. Here it is. And you can put your secrets there and then go to git ignore, for example, if you're using Git, and forbid pushing any of those to the source repository. That is one possibility. On the other hand, that file will still exist on your disk in the very same place where the rest of the code is. So if you shared with anyone your code, you would also share the secrets file, which is not so lucky situation. By the way, if you added another app settings, you will have to configure the configuration builder to include that file in configuration. And now items in that JSON will also be available in code. So when I read connection string, what will happen under the hood is that default order will be used to search for that string. That will include app settings JSON, but since this string is not there, the search will continue and eventually it will be found in the app settings secrets JSON. However, I said already that it is a problem that this file will exist along with the rest of your source code, and you might accidentally expose it to others. So what is suggested solution is to actually go to user secrets. You can manage open manage user secrets for the project and put your secret there. Now this is choice of words, manage user secrets, is misleading because this JSON is not secret. It is another JSON file located on your disk. It will be located somewhere in your profile, user profile. But at least it will not be located where the rest of the source code is on your disk. And if you share it with somebody else, you will not accidentally share these secrets as well. This should be your default when you have something to say that is secret. But you will see by the end of this presentation that you will not even have these secrets stored on your disk. Okay. If you're using user secrets, then you will have to add them to configuration. However, since user secrets are not secret, never forget to only add them in the development environment. Never publish this on the web to production. However, this will be just enough for our application to start working, because now we have the setting, right? Where's my secret JSON? So there is a connection string named secrets demo. I will now prepare the deployment. I will use the portal. You have heard from Eric that you should not use the portal for at least a couple of valid reasons, but I will use the portal to manage and to deploy the application, because I want you to see current state of all resources as I change them. So I will go to the application, and I need to set the connection string there. When you use configuration on a deployed application, you can add connection strings, but that will not be any kind of config or app settings JSON. Just a second, what was the name? Secrets demo. This string, which I still don't know what it is, will not be placed in any file. It will instead be fed to your application as an environment variable, which means that it will not exist in any file. This connection string is a secret because it contains your password. This is my database. I will look for the connection string. Here it is. The password is not shown, so I will have to fix that here. But anyway, I can write the connection string here in the portal. I will write my password, which is password123 with capital P. That is the secure part. Okay, so I have now set up the application in Azure, which has a connection string. And that connection string is stored there in the portal. I don't know it as a developer. This was set up by somebody else, by the customer, probably. I will save the configuration. That will make this connection string effective. And after that, I will publish my application, and it should work in Azure. And it should work on the database, which was installed there. So right now, I have the minimum, the bare minimum of secrets kept away from my machine, because locally I'm still working with local database, and Azure will work. Azure application will work with the database installed there, and I don't even know the connection string. So this is, you can see, this is the Azure application, and it is working. It is listing products from the deployed database. But now the things will become more serious. I plan to add that storage for images. Maybe even I don't trust Azure for keeping my connection string secure. Maybe it is a connection string to some external service, something that is not part of Azure. And when that happens, when that stage in your development comes, you will desire to move your secrets into the key vault. And that's what I will do now. Actually, this is, as I said, keeping secrets in configurations is the bare minimum of security. Anything less secure than this is unacceptable. And this is barely acceptable. It will work fine for databases deployed in Azure, because there's nothing for you to hide from Azure if the database is hosted there anyway. But again, when things come to keys to other services, to storing certificates, storing real secrets which are not known to Azure, then you have to rely on something else, and that something else is the key vault. I will add a key vault resource here. Okay. I will need to give it a name, and that name will become part of its URL. So I will call it secrets. Somebody has already used it, secrets demo. I have already used it, let's say 642. I believe I wasn't rehearsing so many times. So this name is available, which means that this secrets demo 642 will become a segment of the URL of the key vault. And now we can create it. I forgot one step, come on. Access policy. I wanted to add access policies before creating the resource. That can be done later as well, but there's no reason not to do it immediately. When you create the key vault, you want to assign those who can read from it. I can read and write into it because I am the administrator, the owner. That would be your customer. And now I want to add my application, which will also become the client to this key vault. So you can select permissions. I will only store a couple of secrets, so I will remove all key permissions. I will not add any certificate permissions. I only want to allow my application to get and list secrets. So this is an excellent place where you can finally tune access rights to your secrets. And now access rights to whom? To my application. Now look what will happen. This is managed identity at work. My application is called secrets. There it is. I will add this application, and now here is what happened. Application resource has been assigned an object ID when it was created. And this is an immutable, unique identity of my application. I'm assigning this application the right to list and get secrets from this key vault. If I tried to access from Visual Studio, from any other application, the URL of this key vault, I would simply be rejected with 403 forbidden response. This is managed identity, which means that your application is your passport to this key vault. And when you create it this way, you will have no secrets to keep anymore. The only thing you will need to know, I will create this resource. Okay, I'm satisfied. The only thing you will need to know is the name of the key vault, because that will give you the URL. And that's all. And that's not even a secret. The best situation for you when speaking of secrets is to only know the things that are actually not secrets, like URLs. Anyone can guess the URL, so there's no point in hiding it. Okay, I can go to these secrets. this is the resource, all right. And now I will get back to the application configuration. I will introduce a new config parameter, key vault name. I will just give it a name, and that's it. Secrets demo 642, because I will use it to construct the URL, nothing else. And this is really not a secret again. Secret is the way by which my application will authenticate or access the key vault, and Azure platform will allow my application to ask due to supplying the object ID. That's it. Eventually, I will remove this secrets demo connection string, but right now I want to copy it to the key vault. Here, this is the key vault. I will go to secrets, and I will create the new one, which will be the, now I have to create both sections and values. So it will be connection strings, and I will use double dash. You can use colon, but that is not universally applicable. Double dash works in all cases. Connection strings, and what was that? Secrets demo, right? Secrets demo, is it? Secrets demo, yes. And I will give it the value, which is the connection string. So right now I have created a connection string in key vault. I'm not using it yet. So the time is to get back to the application and see what's happening there. Okay. If you wanted to use the key vault, you would effectively use, I have chosen to only use it in production. So here, when setting up configuration, development environment will still rely on user secrets, but production environment will depend on the secret client. And I want to replace this vault name with a vault name taken from configuration. Now, there is a trick to obtain that. Since I'm working with the config builder, I need to build the config first. That will give me access to all configuration supplies managers that were registered before this one, and the environment variables will be already there. So if key vault name was written in user secrets or in but this is happening in production environment only, so it will be only in environment variables, I will have access to the one named key vault name. And when I get access to that, I will put it inside the URL, and I will use the managed identity credential, which means that object ID of my application. I will expect my application to have free access to the key vault in order to read those connection strings. And so I will add the key vault secret manager, and configuration will be prepared. Configuration management will be prepared. So I can deploy this. I can publish this application to Azure, and it will already be, the security of this application will already be moved to a higher level, because now it will take secrets from the key vault as it should. Come on. Waiting. Okay. It is there. Remember, what is this? Oh, I forgot to save this. Okay, so I have closed internal server error. That will restart my application, and hopefully now it will work. Yes, yes, it was my mistake. And here you can see why it is a good idea to script your deployments and not to do them manually. Not only that manual doesn't scale, you cannot scale it to different environments, but also you will make manual mistakes like I did. Anyway, it works, but there is a trick. It has found connection string in the environment variable because it was here. Let me delete it. And that will make it look further away from environment variables, and that will make it look into the key vault, and it will have to find it there. So I have deleted the connection string from environment variable and published new settings. That will cause the application to restart, and it should have access to the database again, but this time reading the connection string from key vault. Yes. So if that with environment variables, that solution was the bare minimum of security, this has become a decent security model in my application right now, and I can continue working with it. Namely, I want to start uploading those pictures. I want to store them in a blob storage. And when you work with storage in development, you would normally use Azure, a service which is emulating storage. And in Azure, you would add a new resource. You would add a resource. Why this didn't refresh? Okay, here's the key vault. You would add a resource, like storage account, and you would store things there. I will create it. Secrets demo 1215. I will have to remember this one. Now. I plan to put pictures in the storage, in the blob storage. How do I access it? By adding more secrets to the key vault. Here is code. While Azure is creating that resource, let me show you the code. This is the abstract image store which I have prepared in my application. It allows writing images, reading images, an image assigned with the product, and removing it. Okay. And I have implemented a concrete image store, which is a client to the Azure storage. So I have prepared a fake storage using Azure on my development machine. And I am preparing an actual storage in Azure deployment. So there I will need to know a container name, and I will need to know a connection string to that store, to that storage. And those two will have to be written. Those are the secrets. No, container name is not a secret, but connection string definitely is. I will create a section named image store, and I will call this one container name. I will write images here. Good. And I will create another one, which is image store connection string. Now, this will be the connection string to the storage. How do you know the image string? It's very simple. You can use Azure Storage Explorer, and you can access, there is the secrets demo 215. This is an easy way. You can go to properties and read the connection string. I will show you what this connection string looks like, and you will see immediately was the point about it. So it has the protocol, it has the account name. None of these are secret yet. But then comes the secret, account key. This is secret. This is what you must keep. And then comes the endpoint for blob here. This is where the name of that storage comes. And these are the others, queue, table, file, storage. I'm not going to use them. I'll just delete them. So I want to store this secret in the key vault. Where is my key vault? Here. I will write it here, create it. And that's it. It is safely stored there. And now we get back to development. But remember, I didn't change anything in my application settings. Application has remained the same. Here, this is the web application. All it knows in its configuration is a non-secret information called key vault name. It only knows the key vault name. Everything else is kept away. So I can freely continue writing my software. This Azure Storage Client will use the connection string to find the blob service. It will use container name to find the container, and if it doesn't exist, it will create it. So I don't have to do anything with blob service. I only need to know where it is to have the connection string. And then comes the long process of writing software where you totally ignore configuration. I will sweep through this part because that is simply formal software development. I will inject in image store into that details page, which is showing the details of a product. That is important. I will inject it. That is important because that page will have to show the picture. Here, I will ask for the picture from that image store abstract one. This is inserting new pictures, again, implemented. This is deleting pictures, again, injected and called image store. Okay, I think that I have completed development. If you read source code, you will notice that I have been ignoring all errors and everything. I have tried to make it very simple. But now comes the substance of this talk, the security. How do we inject these secrets here? This is the startup where I need to register the service. I will register Azure Storage Images implementation. And shall I use configuration to read image store container name and connection string? At least I did that above. There is the connection string. I did that above. Will I do that again? No, because if I did, then I would have to go to user secrets and write those two here to emulate what Key Vault already contains in production. So I would have to have all the values that I have in Key Vault, only those values would be fakes here. Like local DB is actually a fake database service. You don't have that in production. I don't like doing things that way because all these fake services like Azure and local DB are substitutes, identical substitutes to services that exist in Azure in production. If you wanted to pick the connection string for this emulator, here is the connection string. There's nothing secret in it. I'll show you. The account name is DevStore account 1, and this is the secret. This one here. This secret is constant. Azure has that one key which is public and nobody's hiding it. And this account name is also not a secret. So why storing them here if they are constant? There is one detail. You see, Azure is listening on this address and this port, and you can change that when you start Azure. You can specify it in command line. So actually, configuring Azure to be consumed by your application is quite different from configuring Azure Blob Storage. Azure Blob Storage has a secret to access it. But Azure has something that is a convenience. You might run multiple Azure services, or this port might be already in use. So you need this just to access it, but there's nothing secret here. So I have a better idea. What I normally do in my projects is to have extension methods that operate on iConfiguration, which are making my life easier because I can choose what to do, whether it's running on a development environment or on production environment, because those two configurations will differ, and you will see now. Imagine you have a method, an extension method on configuration, which knows the hosting environment, and it is telling the image store container name. That container name, which is already stored in the key vault. I will prepare a helper method, which is reading a setting for the image store, and it accepts a default. And if setting is missing, it will be replaced with this default. Now listen. I want a container name, but if my environment is development, I will fix it to images. Otherwise, I will not substitute it. I expect those who are administrating my customers' deployment, production, to set it there. Okay, this is the idea. Now, what about the connection string? Things are becoming more serious here because this is a real secret. In development, I will use Azure, and I know I will use it. But in production, I will use Azure storage. Azure storage will depend on an actual connection string with no default. There's no default. If this one is missing, I want that internal error 500. This must be set. But Azure, it is different. I know it's entire connection string, and it is constant, and it is part of the published documentation for Azure. Except this IP address and port. So let me take those from user secrets at default to what is already a default in Azure. In other words, if I had nothing here in user secrets that explains, that configures Azure, it will just work. And that's the point. That is secretless development. I have no secrets from production, and I don't even want to bother to set up my own fakes on my machine. And again, why not repeat that same thing with database connection string? This is the helper method, which is reading connection string and substitutes it with a default if it was set. And it will be set in development. In development, default will be to work with local DB. Otherwise, there will be no default. Again, the administrator of the production will have to set it in the key vault. And this configuration extensions are done. I will get database connection string by using the extension method, which will know what to do depending on the environment. And I will do the same for store container name and connection string. I will be bold enough to even remove all user secrets. I will not write anything on my machine. When a new member of your team downloads source code, supposing that every member of the team has Azure installed on machine and local DB and Visual Studio, or any other IDE, that doesn't matter. The source code will work on a development machine. These configuration extensions are defining the development machine, and every development machine will work the same, although you will be able to tweak it by overriding connection string and these storage items. But you will have to use Azure in this configuration anyway. So you have certain freedom, but you don't need to use it. And when you publish that to production, production will entirely use what is set in the key vault. And I, as a developer, will never know what's written there. I have never seen those secrets. I have never stored them on my computer. They have never been put in any file. So there is no chance that anyone has copied that. And it will work. Here, this is production. Come on. Okay, this is it. I will put it aside because I plan to run my development version as well. It will work on my local machine here. Okay, where is production? Here. I have both of them running side by side. If I go to products here, I delete one. No, I delete. It will disappear, but this here here it will still be there. If I go here and come on, why is this so slow? What is happening? Let me try to upload a rotting banana to this product. Here, it works. I don't know what's happening with my local environment. Okay, it's working now. And this is production. Oh, did I start the Azure? I have paused it. It was waiting endlessly. Okay, it was my fault. It was my fault, all right. So I can upload the image here, and those two will be different. So I'm obviously working on one side, I'm working on my local environment without having any configuration at all. Everything falls down to defaults and to fake services like local DB and Azure. And in production, all secrets are kept in the key vault, and they are working with real database and real Azure storage. So I will end the presentation here. This is all I wanted to show you, and let me leave this this picture as the last image of this presentation. The last words: never know the secrets. Don't ask for them. Don't store them anywhere. Keep them in the key vault. Use managed identity to access it, to let your application access it. Use all fake services in development, and you will be safe. You will never be sucked out through the window. All right, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them now.
Great, Zoran. As you mentioned in the intro, you rounded up the story completely. So we heard from the identity side why it should be used, we heard from a side of Azure DevOps how we can deploy or build applications in a secure way. And finally, we saw how to code in a secure way totally and use all the advantages of keeping safe secrets in Azure. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was great, and I hope it was very useful for young generations.
All right, thank you.
I haven't seen any questions in the chat, but be sure that I will try to share your presentation with most of the customer development teams that I know. They need to learn. If they don't know this, they need to learn it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, once again, thank you very much for joining us and attending this conference as a presenter.
Yes, enjoy the rest of the sessions.
Yeah. Hope to see you next year live.
Me too.
Bye.
Bye.